heard that before. So lying on your back, letting your head roll a little bit from side to side. So just, yeah, settle down. A little bit of letting your head roll to the right and to the left. And from letting your head roll from side to side, find a comfortable place to settle the back of your head on the floor. And then just maybe let a breath come in and let a breath leave you. So you don't have to do anything particular with your breathing, but just feel the movement of a cycle or two of breath through your body. Good. And then if your legs are long, I'd like you to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And then start to let your knees tilt to the right and to the left. And just see how this feels. So we're doing this very familiar movement of tilting the knees to the right and to the left. And so it's been a good couple of weeks since I've seen everyone. And so I don't know how, Sheila, how your lower back is and how any other things are. Was that a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Okay, and then what I'd like you to do is settle in the centre, and you're going to keep your right knee bent and lengthen your left leg out on the floor. So I don't always say lefts and rights, but I think it might be helpful today if you do what I say. So the right knee stays bent, the left leg's long. And then just start by a little bit of letting that right knee tilt to the left and to the right on its own. So it's quite a different feeling when we're just tilting one leg from side to side. It's more the feeling of the leg moving in the hip joints. That's it. And just do this a couple more times. And then what I'd like you to do is settle that leg down, settle the foot down. So the foot is no longer rocking side to side on the floor and the knee isn't either. So come to a point of settling the foot down. Good. And then you're going to come into that movement where you're pressing into that right foot and letting the right side of your pelvis come away from the floor. That's it. So you let your pelvis tilt towards the left. Good. So it might be at this point most helpful to let your arms rest on the floor beside you. And it depends how your shoulders are feeling. So whatever works best for your shoulder. Good. And do this movement a few times. As you're doing it, just have a sense of how easy is it to press down into that foot. And you can always try adjusting where your foot is on the floor a little bit. So if it doesn't feel that easy to press into your foot, you might want to try moving your foot a little bit closer towards you, perhaps. Or if your lower back feels a little bit tight, you might find you want to move your foot a bit further away from you. And there's also the options of moving your foot a bit closer to your long leg or a bit more out to the side. Good. The next time your pelvis comes back onto the floor, keep your right foot where it is, and then cross your arms over your chest so your right arm comes on top. So Sarah, if you cross your arms like that, yes. So has everyone got their arms crossed like that? That's good. So your right arm's on top. You're going to press into your right foot, and you're also going to roll across your upper back. So that's it, good Sarah. So you're rolling towards the back of your left shoulder. So the back of the right shoulder comes away from the floor. That's it, the back of the right side of the pelvis comes off the floor, good. And so Sarah, what you can do is sort of reach out to the floor on your left, that's it. Good. So with your right fingers, you can reach out on the floor over to the left. That's it. Good. And just repeat this a few times. So this is when we get this nice feeling of sort of rolling across our upper back. And if we're feeling a bit tight in the upper back, we can be giving ourselves a bit of a massage through doing this. So do this a couple more times. Good. That's nice. Okay, you can do this once more if you like. And then just uncross your arms and just keep your right knee bent, but you could bring your arms to rest on the floor beside you. And then what I'd like you to do is imagine from here, what we're going to do in a moment is use our hands on the floor beside us to sort of push ourselves up into sitting, keeping our right knee bent and our left leg long. So I'd like you to do that. And you think about it first and then come up so that you're sitting. Good. Yes, and so, yeah, and just sit good, that's it. And then once you're up, you might want to adjust where your foot is. So in fact, I'm going to do the other leg. So your foot, you know, it doesn't have to be really close into you. Have it somewhere comfortable. Probably don't have it right up against your leg. Have a little bit of distance between your leg and your foot. And then if you hold around, actually maybe the first thing is just lean back onto your hands and give your long leg a bit of a wobble on the floor. So that's it. Can you roll the long leg on the floor? Good. So we're going to try and keep this long leg relaxed. Not always very easy. So once you've rolled that leg on the floor, then see what's it like to come a little bit more upright and hold around your bent leg. And that's going to be supporting our spine. And we're going to be turning to, we can turn towards this bent leg and we can hold around it. Now, I was experimenting with this one. So again, you can be leaning back a bit onto the back hand if that's helpful. You could also try reaching the front hand up a little bit towards the ceiling and see if that helps, or it may not. Depends whether you like taking your arm up or not. So you could try taking the arm up a bit, bringing it back down. And then we'll be going the other way. We'll be turning away from this front leg now. So I'll swap sides. So you can turn away from your front leg. You can still be holding onto it. You can still be leaning back onto your back arm a little bit. Try to keep the front leg relaxed. So that's it, just the long leg. Good. You could again be reaching up a little bit with the front arm, which is the other arm now. Oh, Aditi, that's the back arm now. Very confusing. Good. And then just a breath or two here. Lovely. So we're coming into rotation here. Now, what I'd like you to do then is untwist, lean back on both hands and lengthen that right leg out for a moment and just let your leg roll on the floor. Good. And then I'm going to spin round. Then what I'd like you to do is bend your right knee again, but put your leg further out to the side. Yeah, so you've bent your right knee again, but you've got a bigger distance between your right foot and your long left leg. And you're going to lean onto your left hand and arm. And you're going to have your right hand on your right knee. And you're going to start to tilt your knee towards your long leg. That's it. And away from your long leg. So Sarah, I think you need your foot a bit further away from your bottom. That's it. Possibly even more. Because, yeah, so the foot shouldn't be too close to the bottom now. I would even bring it further away so that you be doing a movement where your knee, when it comes in towards your long leg, it can come all the way down to the floor. That's it, yeah. And then probably when it goes the other way, your knee probably won't touch the floor. Yeah? Now, Aditi, you look like you might have your foot too far away from you. It may just be the angle on Zoom. I'm not sure. Good. Okay. And then what I'd like you to do is to keep the left leg long still. When the knee's coming out to the side, then slide your right foot in a bit. So it's a bit like you're coming into sort of tree pose, but in sitting. And you could lean back onto both hands. That's it. Good. So you've got the sole of your right foot coming towards your left thigh. And just see how that feels for a couple of breaths. Good. Leaning back, not doing anything particular. If it feels very easy, you could just see what's it like to sort of come a bit more upright on your fingers. Again, if I swap over sides, you can see a bit more upright, and some of you might even think, okay, I could fold forwards a tiny bit, but that might not be for everyone. Okay, and then keep the left leg long. Now what you're going to do is lean from here, lean onto your right arm and catch your right foot with your left hand. Okay, lots of lefts and rights here, we're all there. Yeah, so you've caught your right foot with your left hand, and can you swing this leg a little bit from side to side? So the left leg is long, we've caught our right foot with our left hand, and we're swinging our leg from side to side. That's it. So just try and find a sort of comfortable, easy movement. And from doing this, I just want you to then come to see, where could this foot go? So if we were thinking about a sort of half lotus movement, where could your foot go on your thigh? So it might just be that you think about crossing your foot over your left leg a bit. Some of you might think about taking your foot a bit sort of higher up your thigh towards a half, yeah, that's it, so good, towards a half lotus type movement. So just sort of, is there a place you could bring your foot to rest for a moment somewhere on your left thigh? Good, good. And then what would it be like, we've been here very briefly, what would it be like to turn towards that leg? So that's it, good. So you're still leaning onto the arm that's behind you, turning a little bit towards that leg, just for a breath or two. That's nice. Very good. Okay, come back to the centre. Lean back onto your arms and lengthen that right leg out again and give your legs a little bit of a roll. Good. And then I'd like you to come to that movement we were doing again. So again, the left leg is long. You're leaning on your left arm. You bring this right knee, this right foot out to the side. So remember we were here with this sort of gap where we could let the knee tilt from side to side. Yeah? So you've got your right hand on your right knee. Good. And I just wanted you to see what it's like to go a little bit further. I might just have to tilt my laptop down slightly. A little bit further with this movement. So the knee coming in towards the long leg. That's it, and then leaving it there. And then what's it like if you start to slide your foot in a little bit and possibly think about coming on more onto the top of your foot? So Sarah, coming towards that sort of half, which is easy for you, I know, that sort of half virasana. So just seeing how that feels, yeah. So it may not be possible for you to come onto the top of your foot, but you know, just sort of see where you get to on that side. I'm just going to slightly tilt the laptop so you're seeing more of my foot, if that's helpful. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very nice. And just that's it. Just have a breath or two wherever you can get to here. And then lean over onto your left. That's it. Lean over onto your left side, left arm, left leg, so you can release that right leg. Good. And give your legs a little roll. And then we're going to come onto hands and knees. We're going to come through a little bit of dog pose, a little bit of a forward bend. Then we will be coming back onto our backs to do the other side. But first of all, come onto hands and knees when you're ready. So that's it. Settle yourself on hands and knees. And when you're ready, you're going to tuck your toes under. You're going to exhale. You're going to rock yourself up. Your hips up and back into dog pose. And just see how it feels to arrive and settle in dog. So we've been doing quite a few, all of the things today so far. We've been doing very sort of asymmetrical things. So now in dog pose, we're working with sort of something much that is symmetrical. Good. So you could be bending one knee, bending the other knee, just seeing how your dog pose feels. Good. You can have another 2 or 3 breaths in dog, whatever you like. From dog pose, we're going to walk our hands into our feet into a forward bend. And then stay in that forward bend for a couple of breaths. So how does it feel when you've walked your hands into your feet, all of your weight's in your feet? You can let your head go, let your arms go. And from here, we're going to roll up into standing. So we're not going to actually do anything in standing right now. We're just going to see if we exhale, sink into our heels. If you need to walk your hands up the fronts of your thighs, you can do. But yes, just arrive in standing for a moment. See how it feels to be in standing. Let your shoulders drop. You could sway a little bit from side to side. Good. And then in a moment, what we're going to do is go back down through a forward bend, dog pose, and then on hands and knees, we'll do a bit of cat and a bit of tail wagging. So be at the back of your mat, so we can sort of go back down through what we just did. So from being in standing, we can start to roll back down into a forward bend. And like I think I saw you doing, Aditi, if you like, you can do a bit of that weeping willow movement where you're sort of sweeping your hands around to side, if that feels good in your forward bend. Or if you prefer, you can just be in your forward bend, having a few breaths. It could be with your elbows on your thighs, or just letting your arms hang. And then from your forward bend, whenever you're ready, start to walk your hands forwards into dog pose again. Good, and you could probably go a bit longer than that, I think, Sarah, actually. Yeah, make it sort of a longer dog and just see. So when we're walking our hands forwards, in a sense, we've got more options about where do we take our hands. So you can always see how it feels to do a slightly longer dog pose. And bending the knees as much as we like. Good. Let your head go, rest down through your arms. That's very nice. Beautiful. And then from dog, come down onto hands and knees so that we've got a little bit of time before our wrists have had enough to do a bit of cat and a bit of tail wagging. So arriving on hands and knees and then starting to round your back to the ceiling, dip your spine down to the floor. And see how these movements feel good. Just keeping it comfortable, easy, enjoyable, very nice in your body. That's beautiful. Wonderful. If you fancy adding in a bit of any sort of tail wagging movements, we all know them very well by this point. We can do. If you like to add the sort of cat and tail wagging together, by all means you can do that. And then whenever you need to take the work, the sort of take the pressure off your wrists, we're going to come into child pose. So round your back, come into a rounded up cat, and then stay rounded to rock back into child pose. And just settle in child for a breath or two. And yes, kneeling is what, if you prefer, that's absolutely fine. So wherever you are, just let the shoulders soften and settle and feel a couple of cycles of breath moving through you. And from child pose or kneeling, from wherever you are, you're then going to be slithering forwards onto your belly. And it might be, I tend to do that sort of one hand on top of the other and my cheek or my forehead resting on the top hand. And just a bit of settling, so maybe a little bit of wiggling your pelvis once you're on your belly. So a little bit of wiggling your pelvis from side to side. And then let your pelvis settle. And just maybe let a cycle of breath move through you. So feel your breath come in, feel your breath leave you. And then you can also do the one where you bend your knees and take the soles of your feet to the ceiling and let your feet tilt to the right and to the left. Good, very nice. Very nice feet, everybody. Good. That's it. So you can do that a couple more times, let the feet tilt from side to side. And then let your legs come down onto the floor again. Just let them be sort of heavy and relaxed. Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then from lying on your belly, you're going to turn over onto your back, and it's up to you. Just go however is more comfortable. If you want to put your head up the other end of your mat, that's absolutely fine. Because yeah, just whatever's most helpful for you. So back onto your back. And just give yourself a moment to enjoy being on your back. So there's sometimes just that, yes, lovely feeling of sort of relaxation, of, here I am lying down. Good. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. And then if your legs are long, bend both knees, stand both feet on the floor. And come just a few times to letting your knees tilt to the right and to the left. Very nice. And then settle your legs down in the centre, so stop tilting your knees. That's it. Up. Keep your left knee bent and lengthen your right leg out on the floor. Okay, so we're going to come to doing all the little things we did on the other side, on the left side now. So start by, yes, and that's it. A little bit of letting your knee tilt from side to side. Thank you, Sarah. I was going to forget that one. So that's it. Let the left knee tilt a little bit to the right and to the left. Very nice. And then you can settle that left foot down on the floor and stop tilting the knee. So we're going to now try that movement where we press into the left foot. We're trying to just really sink down into the foot, let the left side of the pelvis come away from the floor. And sending our knee forwards over our footprint. So we're not letting the knee move from side to side now. Good, sending the knee forwards over the footprint. Good. Do this a couple more times, that's very nice. Lovely. And it might be that you coordinate this pressing into your left foot with exhaling. Yeah, that's nice, Sarah, good. Okay, the next time your pelvis comes back onto the floor, cross your arms over your chest with your left arm on top. Remember the arm, Sarah, the other way there. I know, it's very confusing, this one. So because we're sort of crossing the midline of ourselves. Good, so now as you're pressing into your left foot, you've got your arms crossed over your chest and you're going to roll across your upper back. So you're rolling your weight onto the back of your right shoulder and you're reaching your left fingertips out along the floor. That's it, over to the right. Good. Has everyone crossed their arms over? Elaine, if some of you I can't see whether you have, so I'm just trusting that you have. Good, Aditi, that's it. So you could be reaching over to the right with your left fingertips on the floor, sort of reaching the fingers away from your body, if you like. Good. Aditi, just think a little bit about sending your knee forwards over your foot rather than it going too much over to the right. Just so you get that feeling, that's it, well done, very nice. So you get that feeling of opening through the front of your left leg thigh. Okay, you could do this once more if you like. Good, and then release your arms down to your sides. And just like we did before, imagine for a moment that you're going to bring yourself up into sitting with your left knee staying bent. So imagine you're going to do that and then bring yourself up into sitting, having imagined how you're going to do it. So good, we're up and sitting with our left knee bent. And maybe the first thing we do, so Sarah, you might want to swing around actually. So, maybe the first thing we do is lean back on both hands and give the right leg a bit of a roll on the floor. And just, that's it. So we're just, with this left leg, it's really easy for it to get tense, particularly in the fold of the hip joints. So every so often we want to come back to this, just rolling the leg and letting it settle. Then walk your hands in a little bit and hold around your bent left knee and see if this can help support your spine. So we're just trying to feel long and tall here. And it's not always easy. So we're going to be turning towards this bent leg. So you can lean back on your back arm. Yeah, you can use your back fingertips or your hand to support you. If it's helpful to reach up a bit with the front hand, you don't have to again, but yes, you could try that. And then bring the arm back down and hold around your leg. Good. That's it. So Sheila, you want to have one hand back behind you that you're leaning onto. Oh, so we turn towards the leg, so the other hand. That's it. Good, well done. Because we're going to go the other way in a moment. So then let's go the other way. Let's turn away from that front leg. Okay, I'm going to swap my legs over. So you're turning away from your front leg. You've got your back hand on the floor behind you, so you can be leaning back a bit if that's helpful. If you like, you could see what it's like to reach up with your front arm. And the reaching up is just maybe an opportunity to help your spine feel a bit longer and taller. And it may or may not be helpful. And then the arm can come back down. You can hold around your bent leg. And you can just have a breath or two on this side. Notice what's going on with your long leg. Is it still relaxed? Can you still wobble or roll your long leg on the floor? Good. And then untwist and lean back onto your arms, lengthen both legs out in front of you. Give your legs a bit of a roll. And then we're going to come into the one where we take our legs a bit wider apart. Your right leg is long now, and you're bending your left knee and standing your left foot on the floor. You're leaning onto your right arm and hand, and then the left hand's on the left knee. So we're doing these two movements, taking the knee out to the side and taking the knee towards the long leg. That's, yeah, so again, Sarah, you might need that foot slightly further away from you. I don't know, maybe it's okay there. Good. So just use your hand. So if you use your hand, you can sort of make the leg a bit more passive. That's why we've got the hand on the knee. So you just try and, yeah, use your hand to help move your leg from side to side. So the leg sort of, yes, the muscles can undo a little bit. Okay, the next time your knee comes out to the side, then slide the sole of your foot towards the inside of your long leg. So we're coming into this sort of tree pose position in sitting. And it's very much, you can see, it might be that you want to stay leaning back onto your hands. It might be you want to see what's it like to come a bit more upright. Or even for some of you, what's it like to try to fold forwards a little bit. If you're folding forwards, it's because your pelvis is coming forwards. Yeah. Good. And yeah, this can be quite a challenging movement, so we won't stay there long. I mean, some of you look rather happy. The next thing we're going to try is from here, you're now going to lean onto your left arm and use your right hand to catch the outside of your left foot. So we come to this movement where we're swinging. That's it, yeah. So opposite hand and foot, basically, and that's it. And then leaning onto the left arm. So you should have your right hand catching the outside edge of your left foot. Good. Aditi, see if you can catch the outside edge of your foot rather than your ankle. Can you catch sort of here on your foot? The other way, if you reach your hand, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Good. Good. And just a sort of easy swinging movement of the foot from side to side. Good. And then from here, like we did on the other side, it's just if you were going to think about bringing your ankle onto your thigh or crossing your leg over your long leg. Where could you go to? Have you got some options? So if you've got your ankle sort of in the middle of your thigh muscle, it can be quite painful. You can always slide your foot a bit further across, so your foot's coming a bit more across your thigh. Good. So just, you know, it might be that you can come to a sort of half lotus position. And again, like we did on the other side, I just wanted you to then turn towards the knee, the left knee. And again, you can be leaning back onto your left hand as much as you like. That's it. But yeah, if you're turning towards the knee, Sheila, let the knee sort of drop at the same, that's it. Doesn't, yeah, just, I wasn't quite sure, I couldn't quite, yeah, that's it. Let the knee drop rather than sort of lifting it up. Okay, good. Lovely, and then untwist, lengthen that leg out, give both legs a roll on the floor. Very nice. And then the last thing we're doing out of these little exercises is back to this one. So again, right leg long, left knee bent, and the left foot is further out to the side. Come back to these tilting movements a couple of times. And then you're going to experiment with this one. So your knee is coming in towards your long leg. And then what's it like to start to possibly come onto the top of this foot? Yeah. For some of you, it's very easy. So it's like, that's it, exactly. It's like a half virasana type movement. And just, yeah, sort of seeing where you can go to with that one. And it doesn't matter. You can still have quite a lot of weight on your right. Yes, that's a good idea, Sarah. You're putting your right buttock out of the way. So if this is reasonably easy for you, like Sarah was just doing, you didn't see, she was sort of pulling her right buttock out of the way and trying to feel a bit more level. But, you know, it's a tricky one. We're probably going to feel a bit off to the side. Yes, and exactly, Rosie. If this one's quite easy for you, Sarah, you could then sort of, you know, reach forwards towards your long leg. But it's not easy for a lot of us. So when you've had enough here, lean over towards the right, and then just ease that leg out and roll your legs on the floor. Lovely. So we're going to come through dog pose and a forward bend and come into standing and stay in standing this time and do some standing things. So when you're ready, onto hands and knees. And just take a moment to settle yourself through your hands. So nice big handprints on the floor. And then whenever you're ready, tucking your toes under, exhaling, rocking your hips up and back into dog pose. And just giving yourself a few breaths in dog. Letting your head go and resting through your arms. Very nice. Beautiful. So enjoy your dog pose. Stay there as long as you like, particularly if some of those sitting things were a little bit more challenging for you, then maybe it's nice to be in dog pose. Whenever you're ready, and there's no rush, you can walk your hands in towards your feet. So you come into your forward bend. Good. And once you're there, enjoy that feeling of all of your weight being in your feet. You can either let your arms hang or bring your elbows onto your thighs. Definitely let your head go. And just enjoy that feeling of the whole of the length of your spine, having this chance to sort of gently curve forwards and release, and the feeling of the back of your legs maybe lengthening out. Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then when you're ready, sinking into your heels, rolling up into standing, of course walking your hands up the fronts of your legs if you need to. Good, very nice. And then let's just have maybe a little shake out in standing. We could perhaps just, let's do this sort of, yeah, let's maybe just do this one, sort of loose swinging twist. Very nice. Try and really, that's it, try and really let the arms hang and swing. Good. You slap let the arms hang and slap onto you. Good. So we're going to mainly, I think, focus in standing on some standing balances, and we're going to say some different forward bends and maybe another twist. See how we get on. Great. So you can let that go. And the first thing I'd like you to do is just have a look down at your feet. So settle your feet so they're a little distance apart and they're roughly parallel. And then we're going to do that one where you stop looking at your feet now. You can find a point to focus on ahead of you. And we're going to be rocking our weight forwards onto the balls of our feet and then bringing our heels back down. So just seeing how this feels. And so as we do this, we're giving our feet a little bit of a workout. We're giving our ankles a bit of a workout. And we're also challenging ourselves to balance. So we're trying to feel that we stay wide across the balls of our feet. So the next time you go up, if you feel steady, the next time or the time after, you could stay balancing on the balls of your feet and you could let your arms float up. Good. And then let your shoulders soften and drop down. Good. Let your breath come in, let your breath leave you. See if you can have another couple of breaths balancing on the balls of your feet. And when you come back down, whenever you're ready, let your heels come down. You could let your arms swoop all the way down into a forward bend. And I think, yes, I was going to say, if you wanted to come back into those sort of weeping willow side to side movements of your arms, that might be quite nice in your forward bend. I'm just slightly adjusting my laptop now so my arms don't get cut off. Very nice. Yeah, so whatever feels good in the forward bend. And I always find each time I come into a forward bend, it's, my body, your body releases a bit more. So maybe the backs of the legs, the lower back, perhaps feel a bit more comfortable. And then whenever you're ready, sinking into your heels, rolling back up into standing. Good. And maybe just give each foot a shake out. And we're going to come into another balance, a sort of one-legged standing balance now. So again, start by looking down at your feet, settling your feet down. And we're going to come into tree pose in a moment. But what I'd like you to do is that swaying from side to side movement, maybe closing your eyes and just dropping down into your feet, feeling the feet on the floor, letting your arms hang and relax, but also just taking a moment to decide which foot you're going to stand on first and choosing the one you feel more drawn to. So at this point, you're going to have made a decision about which foot you're going to stand on. You're going to open your eyes and you're going to start to shift your weight into your chosen foot. So, and then you've got your decision about, yes, you want to keep our pelvis facing forwards, let the knee turn out to the side a bit. Where are we going to bring our foot in tree pose? So it could be onto our ankle, it could be the heel comes sort of just above the knee joint, or it could be that we bring our foot higher onto our thigh. So wherever you want to bring your foot in tree pose. And then gather your hands into prayer pose in front of you. Just see if you can find a sort of quiet, perhaps familiar place. If your foot's sliding a bit, you can always choose another position for your foot. Or just focus on that, really sinking your heel onto the inside of your standing leg. If you like, you can then let your arms float up towards the ceiling. Keep the shoulders soft and relaxed. And keep your awareness connecting with the flow of your breathing. And whenever you like, you might want to bring your hands back in front of your heart in prayer pose. Well done. So the longer we stay in tree, the more we become aware of all the muscles in the standing leg starting to work harder and harder. Yes, so come out When you're ready, have a little shake out. And just before we do the other side of tree, perhaps settle in standing for a moment. So tree is this just really familiar pose. So you can settle back in standing. Familiar doesn't mean that we might feel sort of wobbly. Doesn't necessarily mean that we don't feel wobbly and anxious. But there's also something about the familiarity of tree that maybe helps us to settle. So coming onto your second side when you're ready. So shifting your weight onto that second foot. And again, just deciding where you're going to have your foot. If you were wobbly the first time and you want to keep some toes on the floor and keep your foot very low down, that's fine. The foot can come higher, you know, really come to a place where you can feel as settled, comfortable, relaxed as possible. Hands into prayer pose at your heart when you have organised yourself below your waist. Good. Feeling your breath flow in, feeling your breath flow out. Yes, the arms can float up. Good. Keep the shoulders soft, keep the jaw relaxed. Very nice. And then again, you can finish gathering your hands back to your heart. Wonderful, well done. Amazing. I was just thinking then that how when we eventually are maybe back to everyone being in class, if we how challenging it's going to be to do balances with loads of people around. Who knows when that will be. We're going to come into a forward bend, but we're going to come into a forward bend with one foot stepped forwards. So have a bit of room in front of you on your mat. And doesn't matter which foot, but step one of your feet forwards. So you can come to this one where we're rocking our weight forwards and back, into the back foot, into the front foot. That's it, good. And then eventually settling both feet down. And you're going to bend your front knee. So make sure before you come into your forward bend, you've just got this, which I can see most of you do, you've got your side to side distance. Sarah, you could probably have a slightly longer step, I think, because you've got quite long legs. Yeah, that's it. So you're going to be bending your front knee, keeping the back leg straight, seeing how it feels to fold and rest onto that bent front leg. And then you can fold further forwards, so your chest comes down close to your thighs. So yeah, you don't have to go the sort of further step, but I think most of you, yeah, you sort of make this a sort of a two-step forward bend. You rest onto the bent front leg, and then you go further down, releasing. Let your head go, let your arms go. Okay, and then as you come back up, what I'd like you to do is come back halfway, come back to rest on that bent front leg again. So you're resting your forearm on your bent front leg, and your back leg is straight now. So lengthen out your back leg and bring your back leg hand onto the back of your pelvis. So we're going to be turning away from the bent front leg. Okay, so in the back direction of the back leg, good. And once you've turned, you could release your bottom arm to the ground and the top arm up to the ceiling. So your bottom fingers could touch the floor or your ankle, or that hand could just hang. Good. And just have a breath or two there. Very nice. So you've opened out in your twist. Good. And then you can untwist and just come back into the forward bend again, letting yourself rest down over your front leg thigh. Good. Letting your head go. Let a breath come in, let a breath leave you. And then from here, we'll sink into both feet and come all the way back up into standing. Good. Very well done. Have a little shake out. And we'll do the other side. So, back on you, Sarah. So, step forwards with the other foot. That's it. And just do a little bit of this shifting our weight forwards and back. That's nice. So we're just trying to find a position where we can settle down and we can be quite comfortable through our feet and feel supported. So we've got this sideways distance and we're going to be bending the front knee. Bending the front knee, keeping the back leg straight and coming to this halfway place. So this is obviously where we twisted, but we're going to go into the full forward bend first and then like we did on the other side, come back to here. So come back to resting on that bent front thigh and then let yourself fold further forwards. And at this point, you can notice what your back leg's doing. Your back knee may want to bend a bit, which is fine, but try and keep rooted into your back heel. Good. That's nice, very nice. And then like we did on the other side, come back up so that you're resting onto your bent front leg. Sink your back heel into the ground to make sure at this point your back leg is straight but not locked. And you're going to bring your back leg hand onto the back of your pelvis. And then as you turn, you're starting to turn away from your bent front leg. Good, that's it, releasing the bottom arm to the ground. Other arm, Sarah, to the ground, that's it, good. Top arm up towards the ceiling. You're going to do your reverse twist just to make it hard for yourself. That's it. See if you can feel really open across the front of your chest. So I would take this arm a little bit further forwards, the bottom arm. That's it, yeah. And then you can just be a bit wider in front of your chest. Good, very nice. Untwist and let yourself fold forwards over your front leg. I hope that was okay. Adjusting. Yeah. Okay, and then sink down into your feet. He falls into the category of hugging and come back up into standing. Adjusting. Yes. Okay, have a little bit of a shake out. And we're just going to do one more balance in standing. So using the same foot positions. So if you come back for a moment with feet side by side, and then we'll step the first foot forwards. It doesn't matter too much, but and again, you could do a little bit of toing and froing, rocking forwards and back if this helps to settle you down, always helps to calm you down a bit. And eventually we're going to settle into both feet and we're going to bend the front knee. So we're staying upright for the moment, bending the front knee and keeping the back leg straight and bringing our hands then into prayer pose at our heart. And then we're going to come on in from this one. We're going to start to bring our weight into our front foot. And we can keep the front knee bent to start with and bend the back knee. We're in this sort of funny, exaggerated running position. And then we start to straighten both knees. And as we reach our back heel back behind us, we can start to tip forwards a bit. And see if we can feel long from the crown of our head through to our back heel. Just for a couple of breaths, that's very nice, good. Well done, really nice. Yes, good. Good, and yeah, and then this is when we might just catch it for a breath or two, and then we can come, yeah, beautiful, wonderful, Nigel, for several breaths there. Very good. Okay, let's do the other side. So come back again, start with your feet side by side, and then step the other foot forwards. Again, just a little bit perhaps of toing and froing. Just if we're thinking about settling, particularly if, doing the balancing makes us feel a bit busy and excited and trying to settle down through our feet. Very creaky floorboards here. Bending the front knee. Keep the back leg straight for the moment. Bring your hands into prayer pose at your heart. And then we're going to be bringing our weight into the front foot, keeping the front knee bent for the moment, bending the back knee. We're slightly sort of bouncing here. And then just starting to reach back with the back heel, starting to straighten but not lock the standing knee, starting to let your shoulders tip forwards a bit. And trying to feel this long line from the crown of the head through to the back heel. Very nice, and I'm so impressed. It looks wonderful. Good. Really amazing balancing. Well done. Good. Yes, come down. Bit of shaking out. We're going to make our way now out of standing. We're going to go through a forward bend and dog pose. And if you want to, so come to the back of your mats. And if you're feeling lively still and you want to do any of your one-legged dog poses, then this would be the time. So you could just settle for a moment in standing at the back of your mat, let your shoulders drop, maybe swaying a little bit from side to side. And then whenever you're ready, start to roll down into your forward bend, letting your head go. And then when you're ready, walking your hands on into dog pose. Arriving in dog, and remember you've got this option if you like in your dog pose, if you're feeling that would be enjoyable now to do some of your one-legged dogs. If you're thinking, no, that's really not what I want to do at all, you're folding down into child pose whenever you've had enough time in dog. But yes, remember, if you did your standing balance, we just did, it's a bit easier to do the one-leg dogs because you've got your hands on the floor as well. Good. So yeah, very nice. Yeah. So if you're doing your one-leg dogs, there's the one-leg dogs where you keep your pelvis level, a bit more like the standing balance, and then the ones where you sort of roll your pelvis, so you're rolling your top hip up towards the ceiling. Yes, very nice. And then whenever you've had enough in dog pose, you fold down into child. Child on kneeling, just for a couple of quiet breaths. A very nice looking dog there, Aditi. Looks good, really lovely in the shoulders. And just quieten for a moment in child pose or kneeling. And we're nearly ready to lie down, but we're going to, on our way to lying, do something that we haven't done for ages, I think. And I was intending that we would do this on Monday class, and I had to cancel classes. So I thought I'll put this back in again. So you might remember these joyful things. You might need to come towards the front of your mats a bit. Yeah, you might all need to be towards the front of your mats a bit, because we're going to be doing these lovely ones where we start to, first of all, we just start to roll back a bit, but then it all gets a bit less pleasant after that. So abdominal things. So we're looking down. We can start this movement where we're sliding our hands from our feet towards our knees. And we're keeping our back rounded. So we're not trying to keep our spine straight. We're letting our back round. We're looking at our belly. And obviously this moves on to us picking our feet up off the floor. And I was thinking, actually I made 2 notes, which I'm going to remind myself. So when I was doing this yesterday, I was thinking, can we experiment a bit with this? So how low do we go? Do we have a choice? And when do we, so I suppose, when do we let our feet come up would be number 1. How low have we gone before we let our feet come up? And also, when do we lengthen our legs out? Is there a point at which it's more helpful to have the legs long rather than the knees bent? So those, just do this a few times. So those are things I was thinking about yesterday when I was doing this. I was thinking, well, often I say, don't lengthen your legs out straight away. But actually, sometimes if you don't lengthen your legs out, that means you go too low down and it makes it harder. So just, if you can bear it just once or twice more. And just, in the spirit of experimentation, it doesn't have to be really perfect. But can we find the sort of point of balance? Okay, this will be the last one, and then you can go all the way down and lie onto your back. And so just a little taste of these, and maybe we'll have the joy of doing them a bit more in future weeks. So from that last one, yes, let yourselves lie down and up. Oh, so there's all surprisingly effortful. And probably what would be nice once you are lying down would be then to let your head roll a little bit to the right and to the left, because it's quite easy in that one to hang on a bit in the front of the neck. So let the head roll from side to side. And we're just going to do a couple of a few bridge pose type things on our backs, and then a bit of breathing. So rolling your head from side to side. Finding a comfortable place to settle the back of your head on the floor. And then when you're ready, you're going to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. That's it. And take a moment to settle your feet down, to feel your footprints on the ground. And then come to letting your knees tilt to the right and to the left. So if we just revisit this movement that we did earlier on our backs, just a few times, knees tilting from side to side. Again, there's just this sort of familiarity here that maybe helps us to settle. Very nice. Good. And then what I'd like you to do is settle in the center. Stop tilting the knees and come to a little bit of tilting your pelvis up and down on the floor. So tipping your pelvis towards your head and away from your head, towards your face, I should say, and away from your face. And when you've done this a few times, you're going to then take it on into bridge pose. So that's probably usually when we tip our pelvis towards our face, that we can, the bottom of the pelvis comes off the floor. We can let the whole pelvis come off the floor and some of our vertebrae as well. So in your own time, you're just keeping it easy. You're going to rock up and down into bridge pose 2 or 3 times. So you might possibly want your feet a little bit closer into, see, maybe not. Maybe you were right with the taking them wider, but not close to rings. So when you go into bridge pose, just sort of see how steady your feet feel on the floor. And it might be that you need to adjust them. Yes, and if the knee's not feeling comfy, Elaine, then exactly that. Give your leg a little length and roll out. So yes, 2 or 3 times in bridge pose, moving in or out. In and out, sorry. Good. And when you've done 2 or 3 bridges, just fold your knees into your chest so I know that you've finished. And just have a little rock from side to side on your back. Oh, you've got musical yoga mats going on in your household, Nigel. So have you back. Okay, let me see. Oh, good. You could take your legs up to the ceiling and give them a little bit of a shake out. Good, and then I think actually as time is moving on, I think we will settle down for a bit of breathing, and we'll come back to these bridge pose variations maybe next week. Sarah, are you warm enough? You can have a blanket if you like. Okay, so yeah, make sure you're going to be warm enough, and then I thought it's really important that we spend the last few minutes bringing our attention to our breathing. So yeah, make sure you're going to be warm and comfy. So you can lie with your knees bent or your legs long. And we're just going to do some very simple breathing where we're bringing our hands onto a few different places on our body. So the first place I'd like you to start with your hands is very low on your belly, so beneath your belly button. And bring the hands to rest there on the sort of lower part of the abdomen. And let your hands settle, let your body settle, let your breathing settle. You've got your hands on your low belly and noticing what you feel when you bring your awareness here. So you might feel the belly rising and falling with your breathing. So the hands feel the movement of the belly. And the belly also can feel the warmth and the weight of the hands. Feeling the breath flow in, feeling the breath leave you. Just feeling that there's all the time in the world to let our breath find its own rhythm and movement through our body. And from the hands being on the low belly, we're then going to slide the hands up and out a little bit. So we're bringing our hands onto our low ribs, our side ribs. So it might be that you want your thumbs going round towards the back. You don't have to. With a sense of the sort of, the low side ribs. And then just giving ourselves a few cycles of breath to settle here, to notice what we feel, to connect with the feeling of the breath moving in the low ribs. So this feeling perhaps of widening and narrowing around our middle. And again, feeling that there's plenty of time and space. We don't need to rush the breathing in any way. We can allow the in-breath to expand within us and the out-breath to empty us out. And then finally, you're going to bring your hands higher up onto your chest, just beneath your collarbones. So this upper part of our chest. And maybe feeling a sort of lighter breath here. And also if we think about this place here, there's this, the point between the throat and the heart is this place we sometimes bring our hand. You have your hands a little higher up, Sarah, and your elbows on the ground. Yeah, so if you can have your elbows on the ground, that's it. It'll just be more comfy, good. If we bring our attention to this point between the throat and the heart, it's this place to focus our attention that can help us feel more steady. We use it sometimes in standing balances. And if we bring our attention here in our breathing, there's also maybe helps to cultivate this feeling of quiet steadiness. I'm going to ring the singing bowl in a moment. So you can stay with your hands where they are, or you could just, for the final few cycles of breath, you could bring your hands back to one of the other places, or you could let your arms rest on the floor. So thank you so much. Just take your time if you need to rush off. Thank you, Rosie. So nice to see everyone. Just trying to stop recording. Bye.